Get ready to step back in time and explore the eternal city of Rome with our carefully crafted list of the top 10 must-do activities. From ancient wonders to culinary delights, these experiences capture the rich history and vibrant culture of Rome. Whether you're a history buff, an art lover, or a food aficionado, these activities will immerse you in the captivating allure of the Italian capital. Prepare to stand in awe of the Coliseum, toss a coin into the Trevi Fountain, and savor traditional Roman cuisine. Don't miss out on this comprehensive guide to experiencing the best of Rome, where every corner holds a new adventure waiting to be discovered. There's no place like Rome. This is a city where winding streets lead to beautiful temples, pasta gets brought out by the bucket load, and the people-watching opportunities never end. It's one of the most famous cities in the world for a reason, but you can't fully understand its magic until you've been there in person. Rome is also much, much bigger than you can imagine, so you're going to want to have a plan in place. Here you'll find archaeological treasures, iconic art collections, and enough culture to make you want to come back again and again. But don't worry, there's plenty of time to digest your lunchtime pasta and to sip on aperitifs in the warm sunshine. Whether it's your first or your 20th time visiting, here are the very best things to do in Rome according to a local. In fact, the hardest part is fitting everything the city has to offer into your trip. Even though there are many must-see places in Rome, there's a lot more to the city than old ruins or gilded monuments and the long lines that come with them. Rome is huge, full of life, and full of things to do, so get out your maps and start looking for the secret spots that don't show up in every guidebook. Your trip to Rome will be unique because of the big hits and the little side trips you take. Lose yourself in ancient Rome, but not all in one day. Any Italian will tell you in great detail how chaotic Rome is, and then they will all say, "But Rome is Rome." There is no other place in the world like it, and the only thing to do is give in to its chaotic beauty. Even though you're likely to run into a lot of people at any given time, how could you miss the things that make the city special? It would be crazy if you went to Rome and didn't stand in front of the Coliseum, even if you'll be surrounded by wannabe gladiators. You have to stand under the Pantheon's dome, even though you'll have to wait in a long line, which you'll now have to pay for. Even though you'll be surrounded by cameras, souvenir shops, and tour groups, it's hard to imagine not seeing the Trevi Fountain's unique beauty. 1. Coliseum. Seeing the Coliseum is a must if you're in Rome. This beautiful building is the crowning beauty of Rome. It's the kind of thing you see on postcards, but it's even better in person. It was built between 72 and 80 AD and is the world's biggest amphitheater. It could hold up to 80,000 people. Romans from the area used to come here to watch dangerous gladiator fights or animal hunts, but now it's a lot calmer. We suggest getting tickets ahead of time because the lines here can be crazy. But it's all worth it once you get to the 5th floor and can see the whole theater from 360 degrees. 2. Pantheon. The Pantheon is one of the best-kept historical buildings. It was built by Emperor Hadrian in 125 AD. It has the biggest dome in the world, with a diameter of 142 feet. This is a must-see when you're in Rome, and if you go during Pentecost weekend, you're in for a real treat. During Sunday Mass, a lot of rose petals are dropped from the oculus to mark the event, and it's quite a sight. At the time of publication, May 2023, you can get into the Pantheon for free, but there are plans to charge tourists €5 to get in. On weekends and holidays, you must make a reservation ahead of time. You can reserve free tickets on the Pantheon's official website. 3. Vatican Museums and Sistine Chapel. The Vatican Museums were started by Pope Julius II in the 1600s. They have 54 galleries, courtyards, and hallways that hold one of the biggest and most important art collections in the world. In the Sistine Chapel, you can see thousands of old statues, works by Raphael, and of course, Michelangelo's frescoes. If you have time and plan ahead, you can get tickets to the Vatican Necropolis, which is under St. Peter's Basilica, and the Vatican Gardens, which have waterfalls, plants, and a copy of the Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes. 4. Castel SantAngelo. Castel SantAngelo, also called the Castle of Angels, is an interesting cylinder-shaped fortress that Roman Emperor Hadrian built on the banks of the Tiber River in the 2nd century AD. It was first built as a tomb for Hadrian and his family. Later, the popes used it as a fortress and castle. It even has a secret exit route that goes to the Vatican City and connects to the building. It is now a museum with frescoed rooms, a collection of weapons from the Middle Ages, and sweeping views of Rome and St. Peter's Basilica, which is close by. Inside is a small cafe where you can get snacks or drinks while looking at the Vatican. 5. Borghese Gallery and Museum. Cardinal Scipione Borghese built the Galleria Borghese in the 1600s to hold his amazing art collection. It is still one of the best museums in Rome. The cardinal was an avid art collector. He was one of Gian Lorenzo Bernini's first clients and a big fan of Caravaggio's work, so you can expect to see some amazing pieces inside. Some of the most interesting things in the museum are Bernini's Apollo and Daphne, Canova's Paolina Bonaparte, and Caravaggio's Boy with a Basket of Fruit. When it was first built, the Pleasure Palace was a suburban house. It is still surrounded by House Borghese's large gardens, so be sure to take a walk through the park after your visit. 6. Domus Aurea. The luxurious Domus Aurea, golden house of Emperor Nero, was one of the most impressive homes of its time. It gives visitors a unique look at underground Rome. It was built between 64 and 68 AD as a grand place for pleasure near the Coliseum. It covered many of Rome's old hills before the Great Fire of 64 AD destroyed it. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, visitors can join guided trips. There is also a virtual reality tour that helps bring the villa's past glory to life. 7. Gianicolo. Rome is known as the City of Seven Hills because of its beautiful views and many balconies that give you a great look at the city skyline. Gianicolo is above the neighborhood of Trastevere. It's not one of the famous hills, but it's worth the walk because it's the highest point in Rome and has a great view of the Eternal City. The elegant Fontana dell'Acqua Paola, a pond that was in the first scene of La Gran Bellezza, is close by, and its grandeur will make you lose your breath. 8. Capitaline Museums. The Capitoline Museums are in 3 buildings on Piazza del Campidoglio, which is a trapezoidal square that Michelangelo planned in the 1600s. Considered to be the first public museums in the world, they contain Renaissance marble statues and Roman bronzes, like the equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius and the Capitoline wolf, which represents the beginning of Rome. From the underground tube that links the 2 main buildings, the Galleria Lapidaria, you can also get a great view of the Roman Forum. Plan to spend a few hours going through the collection, and don't forget to check out the secret garden behind Piazzale Caffarelli. 9. Tachio Market. The Testaccio neighborhood is where many of Rome's culinary practices began, making it a must-visit for gourmets and adventurous eaters. The area used to be home to the biggest slaughterhouse in Europe, and workers were often paid in extra animal parts, which they called the quinto quarto, or 5th quarter. One of the best places to try Rome's wide range of foods and great street food is at the Tachio Market, a bright modern building with stands selling everything from artichoke burgers and tripe stews to fresh pasta and craft beers. 10. Centrale Monte Martini. In the early 1900s, the Centrale Monte Martini was a cutting-edge power plant. In the late 1990s, it was picked to hold part of the Capitaline Museums collection. In the industrial setting, old figures are put next to old machines. Fauns, Minervas, Bacchus revelers, and Apollos all look surprisingly at home next to the thermoelectric equipment. Some of the most interesting things are incredibly detailed mosaics with marine themes. A spectacular mosaic from the early 4th century that shows a hunt and the giant head and foot of a goddess found at Largo, Argentina.